Well, we're going to talk a little bit about is there enough doctors to go around and what Obamacare may have to do about that. I'm delighted to have with us today Daniel Weber. He is the founder of the Association of Mature American Citizens, AMAC. And reading his bio, he's certainly a patriot, very concerned about what's going on in this country and in particular in the medical community and what Obamacare may mean to us in the long haul. Daniel, nice to have you with us today. Where are we Skyping you in from?
New York today.
Okay, nice to have you with us, and thanks for taking this this topic on. What inspired you to put together the AMAC?
Well, a couple of things. Number one, AARP unfortunately has taken a sharp turn to the left, and when I noticed that happening, for example, they gave Harry Belafonte an award, humanitarian award, after he came back from Venezuela, where he said that America was the greatest terrorist nation in the world. Mm-hmm. And I thought if AARP would give someone like that an award, then it's not the kind of organization I'd like to be part of. And then what tripped me into starting my own organization, AMAC, was when AARP did an article on spiritualism for seniors. And guess what it was about? It was about 70-year-old people laying on tables and putting crystals on different parts of their body and breathing in incense and saying different incantations. Wow. And then after the lengthy article, they ended with, of course, for those traditional people, there's always Billy Graham. And when I read that, I said, this organization has really gone sour. I got permission from my wife, Judy, to invest our retirement. And we started AMAC, and that's where we are now. 400,000 members, thank God.
Yeah, thank God. And, you know, and you've actually had some advertisements. I've heard them on the air. Is that true?
Yes, yes. We've been pleased. Sean Hannity has had us on, and he doesn't voice over many commercials, as you know. Same thing with Mark Levin and Mike Gallagher, a whole host of guys. It's just been terrific. And now that I'm on Dove, I really made it big.
You have arrived, Daniel. I want you to know this is it. Get ready for the ambush of calls.
Yeah.
Well, by the way, so where can people go to find out about AMAC?
Check us out on the internet, www.amac.us. That's the best way.
You know, we get calls all the time about AARP, and I just tell people, don't send them a penny.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, they started out as a great organization, but unfortunately, about 20 years ago, they started taking the left course.
Yeah, pretty sharply. Well, thanks for being with us. You know, we're all concerned about whether or not Obamacare is going to see the light of day. Mitt Romney says one of the first things he'll do is defund it, but we have a Supreme Court decision now that's in favor of it. How bad is this upon us?
Well, it's very bad, especially for seniors. We have the shortage of doctors, and Obamacare is going to make it a lot worse. I mean, it takes 10 years to train a doctor. When you pay that doctor less and less and less, and then leave him open to all kinds of assaults, if you know your daughter's a doctor and she gets sued for malpractice, that's okay if it happens once in a while. But if it's a constant thing, which a lot of these doctors are facing, then it just makes it tougher and tougher. So they're subject to more regulations and they earn less money, so why stay in the medical field?
All right, how can we stop it? I mean, if Romney becomes president, can he stop it or just defund it with this Supreme Court ruling?
We would hope that they would, if they take over both houses, and I'm talking about conservatives. AMAC is nonpartisan. We don't care if you're Democrat, Republican. We just believe in the traditional values of America. And if they can defund it, that would be fine. If they can repeal it, that would be fine. Right now, AMAC is doing something very interesting. We were asked by the Doctors Caucus, which is 21 medical professionals, doctors, nurses, psychiatrists, so on, who are elected congressmen and senators serving right now in the Congress. There's 21 of them. And they asked us to work with them to find alternative solutions. So AMAC has put together a series of workshops, 10 workshops. I'll give you an example. One is how to reduce the cost of drugs. Another one is how to reduce the overall cost of medicine while maintaining quality. So we have 10 different seminars, of which over 100 people have joined these panels, volunteered. They'll be starting up official meetings very soon. We're sorting it out now, which people want to be on which panel. And then we'll come out with actual recommendations on how to do different things to make things better. For example, we've got a plan to replace the doctor shortage.
How would you do that?
Well, drugstore clinics. A few months ago, I had an earache, and I was going to go to church, and my daughter said, I'll meet you in church. And I said, no, Dad. I said, no, I can't. I've got to go to the emergency room. And she said, what's the matter? And I said, well, I've got an earache. And she said, well, don't go to the emergency room. Go to the CVS drugstore. I said, what are you talking about? A few miles away in the next town over, they had opened up a clinic inside the drugstore where a nurse practitioner could administer drugs and give you an evaluation. So I went there. She told me to wait a minute. She was dressed in white. I went into her exam room. 20 minutes, I was in and out of there with my prescription. It cost my insurance company $60 instead of $300 at the ER. Plus, I was in and out in 20 minutes. It was beautiful. And that's the kind of thing that AMAC feels we need to promote. And again, it's through free enterprise. Many people who go to the ER go there for routine things. I know of one emergency medical technician told me there's this woman, whenever she has a cold, she calls an ambulance saying there's something wrong with the heart. When they bring her in, then she tells them she's just got this bad cold. And then, so that's really an abuse of ER. And every ER has these stories. So we want to have the drugstore clinics, give them a card. For $5, they pay a copay. And that's just one of the ideas that we're going to come out with from this series of workshops.
That's wonderful. As you know, AARP still has a lot of members, and it influences a lot of people. But why do you think it has endorsed Obamacare so firmly?
Unfortunately, the House Committee on this did an investigation and found out that AARP stands to make $1 billion in commissions and royalties from the plans that they sell, which are protected under Obamacare and which would replace Medicare Advantage eventually. So AARP stands to gain $1 billion, according to the House investigation. So we think that had something to do with it. The other thing we think, AARP wants to have more government control. They think the government can do a better job of controlling our lives than we ourselves in the freedom we have.
There is not one social medical model out there that we can point at as being successful. You can't point to Canada, you can't point to Europe, you can't point to the Commonwealth countries. What in the world are we thinking?
Well, the worst part, I honestly believe the worst part of Obamacare has nothing to do with medicine. It's the fact that there's the provision that the federal government can take away our religious freedom. That really bothers me. Now, it affects right now the Catholic Church. Right. And, years ago, if the cardinal from New York spoke, then the president would listen. Now the president, the only thing I could say is he's mocking those church officials. And he's telling them that, no, you can't tell us how your religion is going to treat people. The government is going to tell the people how they're going to get treated. And that really is a violation of our First Amendment. And if you take away religious freedom, then all the other freedoms go next. So that's a serious, serious thing. Unfortunately, Romney and these other candidates, they're not bringing that up. There's not too much. Even the Catholic Church, because they're afraid, I guess, of losing their charitable deductions, whatever. They haven't made a lot of noise. They've had some meetings, some prayer meetings, and so on. Of course, if the good Lord's on our side, we don't have to worry. But at the same time, we are supposed to be active ourselves. So I think that's the thing that bothers me most about Obamacare.
Well, Daniel, there is a little bit of a pushback by the Catholic Church. They are fighting back on this issue. They're putting their money where their mouth is. And I don't know if all people of faith don't see this as a fight that we have to join, because, like you said, if Obamacare is able to influence the Catholic Church and their institutions, then eventually it affects us all. So I can't see where we can avoid putting our head in the sand on this one.
That's right. But you know what? It's not something that's got the people upset. Yeah, a few priests are upset, but the cardinals, I'll tell you what happened to me. I went to one of their prayer meetings in Washington, and I was handing out flyers about how bad Obamacare was and about AMAC. And one of the officials came over and said, "You can't do that." And I said, "I'm on the public sidewalk outside of your meeting place. I'm handing out this literature." "Oh, no, you can't do that." I said, "Well, why not?" And they said, "Well, it'll be construed that the Catholic Church is supporting your organization." I said, "You've got it the other way around. My organization is supporting the Catholic Church." So under threat of being arrested, I left. And so it showed me that the Catholics don't have the stomach to fight the way things should be fought. Now, I can't argue with the hierarchy of the church, but right. I wish they would just fight more.
All right, so we need to stop this. And were you surprised by Chief Justice Roberts' decision? I mean, I don't know if you have much of a legal background, but I can't find anybody. I can't find anybody that thinks he did the right thing.
No, I don't think he did the right thing. I think in his mind, he did the right thing. I think as Chief Justice, it may have gone to his head that his #1 priority is to preserve the Supreme Court. And rather than have it used and be accused of being a tool of conservatives, he took this crazy method of thinking to find a way around it to keep Obamacare. And I think it's a darn shame that he did that. And it's just bewildering. But, you never know what goes into the mind of some of these judges. I mean, you've seen the rulings, where they can't hang a 10 Commandments on the church, on the courtroom, but they can have a crucifix of Jesus in a bottle of urine at a museum, and they call it art. So, it depends on who's getting offended, I guess.
So what is the hope for seniors in this country? I mean, are we looking at quality of life? Are you contributing? And if not, you're out of here?
Yeah, well, that's, Obama said it. The president said that for some people it's going to be take a pill. And I'm sure he meant take a pain pill instead of getting an operation. I've got a 88-year-old mother-in-law who had carotid arteries 90% clogged. She had them operated on, and she's doing fine a year later. And her doctor said that chances are, under the new Obamacare rules, she would not have been able to have had that operation. She's just too old. And those kind of things, I fear. We shouldn't have a government bureaucrat in Washington deciding the fate of a senior citizen, or anybody for that matter. And that's what Obamacare really is.
Well, Daniel, what few moments I have left, how important do you think this election is in November? I mean, we always say every election is important, but this one seems to be a critical time for U.S. history.
Yeah, there's never been I think, other than during perhaps the Civil War, a more serious time in America. It's almost like the forces of evil have gathered together and are attacking all the values that made this country great. Less and less we honor God. The people who we're fighting are godless. They mouth God, but they don't live it. Mm-hmm. And they forget that individual freedom, our rights to practice our religion, are the utmost things that they've got to protect. And they're stomping on that with this mania of controlling the government. The government socially is going to do better than churches and things of that nature. And they're going to fall short, that's for sure.
I so appreciate your passion and your conviction, and I just want to encourage our viewers and listeners, check out AMAC, A-M-A-C, is it .org?
Yeah, .us.
Oh, .us, okay, that's the same as we are, AMAC.us. I don't mind saying it, I wouldn't give a penny personally to AARP. I get stuff from them every month, Daniel, and I don't even open the envelope anymore. I just throw it away, Right, well, and I want to admire you because I've seen your ads, I've heard your ads, and I think you guys are doing a wonderful service. Thank you for the alternative.
Thank you for having me on, Dove, and God bless you and your audience.
Yeah, you too. God bless you. Daniel Weber with us today, again, the founder of the Association of Mature American Citizens. It is clearly the Christian alternative to AARP. Let me encourage you to go to AMAC and check out the website. and the information. They got all kinds of resources there for you, and it clearly is a good thing for you to take a look at. So Daniel, again, thank you for being with us. And again, that is amac.us. Check it out. We'll see you next time on Focus Today.